Madhyoli Charanam Jainandalala. Today's topic is Andal, the queen of this month, Margari. And we'll take this journey about her life and the whole journey, until her wedding. It's going to be a beautiful journey today. And as you all know, Andal, I'm sure all of you already know, Andal is one of the Alwars. Alwars are like Nayanmars. Nayanmars are bhaktas of Lord Shiva. Alwars are bhaktas of Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu. So there are 12 Alwars, and she is the only woman Alvar. She's the only woman. That's something interesting. So she is devoted to Lord Vishnu, and she is believed to be the incarnation of Sri Bhuma Devi. So she's none other than the goddess herself. And who is Bhuma Devi? Consort of Sriman Narayana. So now she has compiled Andal Tirupavai. It's a compilation of 30 devotional poems, verses. Tirupavai is sung every day during this masam, this month. If you go to any temple, you will, especially Vishnu temple, you will hear Tirupavai loud, sometimes, on the speakers, right? And it's a beautiful thing. Actually, some people say it wakes them up, but then that is the most beautiful thing you hear in the morning. You should be because it's only for 30 days, and that 30 days is like a wedding. Every day is celebrated. And that's why Margari Masam is the most beautiful times. And especially because of this weather also, whether it's like this rainy season, it's nice, beautiful, chill, coolness in the air. Everything is so beautiful. Talking about India, the southern parts of India, it's the best time of the year. And now she sung these poems about praising Lord Narayana. And thanks to her, we have these beautiful verses with us, sung by the goddess herself. Isn't that a gift for us? It's like a gem, right? Now, this Andal was born, she was there during the 8th century, not too long ago, 8th century. And she's one of the Alwars, like I said. Now, early life, there was a Brahmin called Vishnu Chitta. Now, he is also an Alvar. Among the 12 Alvars, he is also one of the Alvars. And he is known as Peri Alvar. Now, Vishnu Chitta is a Brahmin, and he is from Srivilliputhur, and he's a big bhakta of Lord Narayana. Now, what does he do? He had this, unique passion of making garlands for the Lord. Because of that, he wanted to have his own garden. So he built his own garden. Varieties of flowers. He grew there, everything possible, and he took care of this garden like his everything, like his own self, or even it's like his God, because every day he wanted flowers. He used to go and pluck the best flowers, and he used to make garlands and he used to offer it to the Lord Vishnu in the temple. Now, while he was doing that, his prayer, he had his wife. His wife is Vraja Devi. They both were leading a very nice, simple life. The only thing that was missing was a child. So he prayed. Every time he made the garland, he always prayed for a daughter like Mahalakshmi. So, well, one fine day, he was picking his flowers in his garden like any other day, and suddenly he heard this crying baby. This baby was crying. Then he looked and, looked in the direction of the sound. There he saw this beautiful, beaming girl child under the tulsi plant. She was wailing and crying. He picked her up and he looked around. If someone left their baby, he didn't know anything. So he looked around, he didn't see anyone. And he immediately understood that that baby was left for him because it had this special glow. It had this special glow, and he tried to, stop her from crying. He sang all the songs, but then it didn't work. Then he said, Krishna, Krishna. Like he gave up. He was like, Krishna, Krishna, please help me. And the child started laughing. The baby started, she was all smiles. Heard Krishna and she was all smiles. That's the magic word. He knew, okay, it's Krishna from now on. So that's how the child was. She was immediately taken home. And the wife was very happy to see this beautiful girl child. And they both brought her up like a princess. They named her Godai. Now, Godai is a gift from God. That's what it means, Godai. They named her Godai. It means the gift of God. Now, she learned all the poems. Of course, he's a poet, right? He also is a poet, Alwar. He's written a lot of poems. And so he taught her everything. Now, she was taught Krishna stories, all the Puranams, everything. Godai was well versed in everything. And mostly all of Krishna, more of Krishna, everything about Krishna. Now, she was interestingly, like with all full of interest, she used to sit like this with her hands like this. And she used to look up at her father when he's reciting stories. So much of interest and passion. And it was, she never had enough. She could talk about Krishna the whole day. She would be very happily listening. So she used to ask very interesting questions. Like when kids are like that, right? They ask a lot of questions. She used to ask very many interesting questions. And her father was always very patient, answering all her questions. Now, one such question was, Appa, you always say Krishna loves butter. Why butter? There's so much cooked food. Amma makes such delicious food. So you're telling me, Yashoda Amma, whatever she made, he didn't like, but he liked only butter? Good question, right? All the kids like all these yummy foods and everything, delicious foods. And why did Krishna like butter? To her, for her, she feels butter is very plain. So she's like, why butter? So now, Vishnu Chittar, he had to explain this in the most simplest way so that she understands it. So he says, okay, I'll tell you. Your mother, what does she do? She goes and milks the cow, right? And she says, yes. So after she milks the cow, what does she do? She boils it and she puts some kalkand in a little portion, and she offers it to Krishna. She says, yes. Now, after that, she makes payasam with it. So we all consume it. Now, the remaining milk, what does she do? She makes yogurt with it, curds with it. Now, after the curds, she makes buttermilk with it. Now, from that buttermilk, she churns out the butter. After a lot of churning, she takes, the butter comes out. It's like stands out. Now that does not, you cannot put it back. After churning, when the butter is formed, you cannot put it back. Right? Can you put the butter back? No. It'll stand out in all these dot things. You cannot. Butter is formed. So nicely we take it and put it aside. And that butter is used to make ghee. And now that ghee we used to do when we do homam, yagna. That ghee is used. That ghee is poured into that fire. Now that fire rises above towards the sky, merges into the nature as ashes. See? Krishna is like butter, he says. Krishna is like butter. He is attached but detached. Though he's attached, he's detached. He displays that idea that once the churning of the buttermilk is done, the butter comes out. That's like, it's very similar to what we go through in life. We are churned here and there, aren't we? Life is not an easy journey. We're churned here and there. We pushed here and there. A journey is not easy. It's like winding roads. We are churned. But why are we churned? So that in the end, we become that butter. We become like butter. Attached but detached. Just like some other days, people get confused when I say detached, right? They say, well, somebody said they're very detached, but they wear all these gold and they wear everything. They are in a big house there. So detached does not mean you go and sit in the streets and, become homeless. No, this is where that explanation comes. Attached but detached. You have everything, but you're not attached to any of it. When people put their money in stock markets and everything, right? Suddenly something falls, they take a fall and they're like, oh my God, my whole life is gone. They had that money yesterday. Today it's gone. So what? That attitude has to come. So what? After all your money, you gave it to me yesterday. I had it yesterday. Today you took it away. It's gone. It's okay. That is attached, but detached. You enjoy when it's there. Nobody says don't enjoy. God is only giving it, right? Enjoy it. But in a detached way. If it's gone tomorrow, so what? It's okay. That is what God wants. This churning of this life, this churning of our journey, this churning of everything is happening so that we reach that stage where we don't feel overwhelmed or unhappy or sad when some things are taken away. To get to that beautiful stage and see how beautifully Vishnu Chitta said, explained to Godai that Lord Krishna is like butter. That we have learned, right? Krishna is the most detached. We did that in our session where we spoke particularly about that, specifically about that topic, detachment. Sri Krishna is the symbol of that. He is the core of detachment. Now, we have to always have the Lord in our mind and go through this churning process and come out. So he said all this. He explained all this to Goda, and this little girl is like sitting there and listening to all this. And Vishnu Chittar thought, okay, too much of philosophical talk now. Let's leave the kid alone. And he stopped the topic and moved on to the next one. But she used to ask very, very intelligent questions every time. And he explained it in a very simple way. Now, she used to get dreams. Now, she was just 8 or 9 years old when, this incident, when she asked about the butter. Now, at that time, she used to get these dreams that she's marrying the Lord. She's marrying Lord Krishna. And the Lord Krishna is Lord Ranganatha for her. So both are the same for her. So she'll say Lord Krishna or Lord Ranganatha. Both are the same, is what she would say. So, and every time she had this dream that she's marrying him. Always when you picture Andal, she has this cute little konde on her side, that cute little thing like a doll, running around with that konde on the side is Andal. She's adorable. And then she gets up every morning so happy because she had this dream she's marrying Lord Krishna. Now, her father, he still goes to the garden. She goes with her father. She picks flowers for him. And she's very happy. She picks colors, what color he has to wear, and specific colors she specifies. And her father listens to her. And they go pick flowers for the Lord. And then they sit and do the garland. Halfway, she will run away. And the father completes the garland. After completing the garland, the father leaves it. Vishnu Chitta will leave it in a basket. And he will go and do his other work. Before going to the temple with the garland, he will just go and manage something else. But Gode will slowly sneak up and come to the basket to see what the garland looks like. And she looks at this garland and she'll be like, wow, that looks so beautiful on Lord Krishna. And she would take it and she will wear it on her. She will wear it on her and she will see herself like that. She'll admire herself and she'll run to this well. They have a well. Every house has a well there. Her well. And she will look down into the well to see the reflection of her. See how cute that is, right? That is so cute. She will look down to see her own reflection. And she'll have her mouth open saying, wow, that looks so beautiful. How cute. And this is how she does every day. She would do this. And she'll quietly come back and drop the mala in the basket as it was. And she'll run away. Her father, totally ignorant of what is going on here. He has no idea what's going on in the background. He takes the garland and he goes and puts it on the Lord in the temple. One day while he was putting this garland on the Lord, he found a hair. So a strand of hair was on the garland and he just, he felt very, very angry, disgusted with himself. It's like, how could I do this mistake? Did I pick this flower by mistake from the floor that had hair and I didn't see it? So he was blaming himself. But he knows that he's been very careful. He wanted to go deeper into what went wrong. So that day, after making the garland, he didn't go anywhere. He acted like he was going out, but he was right there. And as usual, The little Gode was waiting for her father to leave. And she snuck up, you know, sneaked out of her room, and she came and she saw the basket. And she, as usual, she took it and she wore it. And then she went so happily to the well to see her reflection. All this her father's watching. And she's totally admiring the garland. She's like, wow, this flower, this color, this, that. So beautiful and all that. And then she comes and puts it back in the basket. And she turns around to see her father standing there, so angry like that, with his hands. And she was like, I'm so sorry, Appa. And he was not going to take that sorry. So angry. He's like, get out of my sight. You are not doing this anymore. He screamed at her. And she sobbed and wept. She knew she was wrong. And she cried a lot. And she said, I'm very sorry. Please forgive me. I did a blunder. And she ran away into her room. Her father was very angry. He had to sit and make another garland. So, which he did. And he made another new garland. And he went to the temple, offered it to the Lord Vishnu there. And that evening he came back home, and Gode was still not happy. She was very sad. Still there, her father got angry with her. She knows she upset her father, and she knows that she has done a blunder. So that was eating her up from within, and she was not happy. Whatever her mother consoled her, whatever she said, she was very sad. She was like, leave me alone. It's okay. I did a wrong thing. I was wrong. I should not have done it. So her father comes home and he lifts her up and he says, don't worry. You did a mistake. It's fine. Don't worry. I made a new garland and I've put it. Now, your onwards, don't do it. That's okay. That's okay. Leave it. And he gave her a big hug and it was done. That night, Lord Ranganatha comes in the dream of Vishnu Chittar. And he's asking him, why did you not put the other male for me? And Vishnu Chittar is asking, which male, Swami? He says, whatever Gode tried on her, why didn't you offer that male to me? So Vishnu Chittar says, oh, that she already wore it. How can I offer something that somebody wore? You're the Lord. So he says, here onwards, I want only the male that Gode wears. Otherwise, I'm okay without any male. I would rather not be without any male. But if I'm wearing a male, I want the male only worn by Gode. Wow. Now, Vishnu Chittar is shocked. He gets up in a state of shock. He's like, what is going on? How did that happen? When did that happen? Now, he has to tell her, right, what happened? He tells his wife and Gode what happened. The Lord came in his dream and said that Gode has to wear them. Now this girl is so happy. It's like, the Lord wanted the male worn by me. Now she had full freedom, right? She can do this in front of everybody. Nobody can. She didn't have to play hide and seek anymore. She can just, parade around the house with the male. And no one will care, right? So after that, after the mala is done, her father will call her, come, go there. And he'll put it on her and then take it to the temple. So this was the practice after that. From that day onwards, Gode came to be known as Andal. That is how her name changes to Andal. Now, what does Andal mean? The girl who ruled the Lord. The girl who ruled the Lord is what Andal means. Wow. Isn't that true though? I want the mala only what is worn by her. So first the mala goes on her. After that, the Lord accepts it. So beautiful. My God. Even to speak about it, I'm so overjoyed. So well, she grows up. This is happening every day. She grows up into this beautiful girl. She tells her parents very clearly, I want to marry only Lord Ranganatha. Now her father already had a shock with this Mala incident. Second shock is this one. It's like, somebody saying, a mortal human being saying, I want to marry the Lord. Is that possible? Is that possible? No. So the father and the mother sit with her and try to explain to her that, no, you're a mortal being. You're born in this world. You have a journey. You cannot just say you'll marry the Lord. It's not possible. And things like that. And she's like, no, you don't know. I have to marry the Lord. I'm only his. And he's mine. Now he sits down like with his hands in his head like this, on the floor. It's like that. What do I do with this girl? It's my mistake. And they both are, having an argument, the wife and the husband. It's all because of you. You told her a lot of stories of Krishna. It's all your mistake. Why did you have to say so many stories of Krishna? You could have said about so many other people. You just said about Krishna. All kind of things, it's like all confusion. Now, he was angry with himself. He felt that he had overloaded her with all these stories of Lord Krishna and Lord Narayana, that she is in this state today. So he blamed everything on himself. And he clearly told her, no, I'm going to find a groom for you. And that's where this ends. Now, what does Andal do? She goes on this special vridam, this special vridam that the Gopikas did during the Dwapara Yugam. The Gopikas did this vridam. It's called the Katyayani vridam. And that she did here to attain the Lord. The Gopikas did it to attain Lord Krishna. And she wanted the same thing. So she did that to attain the Lord. Now, that is when the Margari Masam, she composed all those 30 verses of Tirupavai. She sang and she kept this strict vradam. And that was going on in the side. Now, the Lord is very pleased with her. He comes in the dream of Vishnu Chitta. Lord Ranganatha comes in his dream again. And he tells him, Vishnu Chitta, start the wedding preparations. I'm going to marry your daughter. Wow. That's another wow, right? Vishnu Chitta said all those things about mortal, that is also. The Lord gave him another shock. Clearly proving to him that Andal is not a mortal soul. She's something else. Now he says, get Andal dressed. So certain date. He tells him this date. Get her dressed up like a bride. And I will arrange for all the things that is required to bring her to Srirangam. So all preparations will be done to get her to Srirangam. The Lord tells Vishnu Chitta. Vishnu Chitta has to listen. So he gets up and he tells the whole family, the Andal and his wife. Andal is very happy. Extremely happy, excited. So now Lord Ranganatha tells the priest of Srirangam. He goes in the dream of the priest of Srirangam and tells him that he has to go with a palanquin and all Nadaswaram and everything, a parade, to go pick up Andal from her house on that day. The same day that he told Andal to be ready. See how the Lord is arranging all this. So as per his instructions, the priest gets everything ready. The palanquin, the Nadaswaram, all the big groups of, it's a big parade. All singing bhajans, they come. So much of drums and mridangam and Nadaswaram, so much of dancing, it's like a big, beautiful. So everything comes on time and stands outside Andal's house, waiting for her. Andal is beautifully dressed up. Now we have all seen that Andal dressed up, and especially during this Margari Masam in Nandalala temple in Chennai. Every day Andal is dressed up in a beautiful attire. Every day she looks beautiful. Oh my God, every day it's like one volunteer takes it up and goes and dresses her up. It's like every day a person takes responsibility to dress her up, and it's a pleasant sight to see that. It's like a treat for our eyes. And yeah, I can just imagine Andal now, like a bride. She's like walking like, the catwalk, the best catwalk, I would say, right? Towards the palanquin. That beautiful, graceful walk to the palanquin, and she sits on it. Her parents are stunned. Nothing they arranged. Wedding is such a big event, right? Can you imagine wedding is so easy? No. Here, look at nothing that the parents did except for dressing Andal up. They had nothing else to do. Everything was set up. So Andal got onto the palanquin, sat there like a queen, and the parents are just watching this. They followed the whole group as they walked to Srirangam. Over there, Andal again got out of her palanquin and walked straight to Ranganatha, the Sannidhi, without even looking back, because she is immersed. She's totally immersed. Every cell in her body is Ranganatha, isn't it? She just walks straight. She touches the Lord's feet. She goes in the Sannidhi. We all know, we did the Srirangam session. We know that it is the reclining posture of the beautiful Lord there, right? She goes there straight in there and she touches his feet because it's right there. She touches his feet. And there, that's it. She merged with the Lord. She was gone. Nowhere to be seen. The Lord took her in. There's a celestial voice because her father and mother are standing there. It's their child. Think about it. right? That's difficult for a human being because they've still not understood that she is not an ordinary person. She's, after all, the consort of Lord Narayana himself. And she had to leave one day. So the father and mother couldn't bear that. And the celestial voice was heard asking Periyalvar to build, that is Vishnu Chitta, to build a temple for the Lord and Andal at Villiputhur, Srivilliputhur. Now, Andal's temple in Srivilliputhur, I want to talk about that a bit. It's 70 kilometers from Madurai, and it is built in a Dravidian style, and it's like 2000 years old. And it is one of the 108 Divya Desams devoted to Lord Vishnu. Now, the Lord there is called the Lord Vadapatra Sayanar, and the goddess is Andal. And it is in this temple that Andal was found under the Tulasi tree, because the garden is very close to the temple. Now, whatever Andal wrote, the Tirupavai, and then all of her verses, she has sung in this temple. And even Alwar has written Tirupalland. So that also he has sung in this temple. Now, even today, every day during Margari, they sing these verses in this temple every day. Now, the temple consists of two parts, Vadapatra Sayana temple and Andal Sannidhi. And the temple is constructed by a king named Villi, who ruled this place at one time. And the tall tower was constructed later by Periyalvar with the help of a Pandya king. Periyalvar is Vishnu Chitta, Andal's father. Now, Andal Sannidhi has been constructed by different kings of the Pandya dynasty at different times. Now, there is a fish emblem. It's a sign, on top of the roof of the temple, which actually states that it is the Pandya kings, because Pandya sign is the fish. Now, the Rajagopuram, it has 11 tier. That is the tallest in Tamil Nadu. And it is also the emblem. They use this as the emblem of the Tamil Nadu government. I don't know if you all know about this, but it is the Srivilliputhur Gopuram is the emblem of Tamil Nadu government. It is 192 feet tall. Imagine. That's something, right? It's not easy to build a temple again. And when you see this Gopuram, you'll know, so tall, the tallest in Tamil Nadu. Now, there's a story how the Lord came here. Always we go to the roots, don't we? Now, this place is referred to as the Varaha Kshetra. It was once a dense forest. No, nothing, It was a dense forest, and it was named as Champaka. And there was an Asura at that time named Kalanemi, and he was troubling all the sages. They could not do any yagnam, they could not do any prayer, they could not do any meditation. He was disturbing their every ritual that they were doing. Everything that they were doing, this Asuran was disturbing. Now the sages strongly meditated to Lord Vishnu for a solution. Now Lord Vishnu took the form of a wild boar, Varaha Avataram, and he killed the Asura. He came and killed the Asura. Then what did he do? He rested under the banyan tree. He took to that reclining posture on Adisesha over here on the banyan leaf of this tree. Hence, he is called as Vadapatra Sayanar. That is how the name comes as that. Shayanar is lying posture. So now that is the initial, he settled under the banyan tree. Now, how was he found? He settled there. Now he has to be found, right? Over time, the idol is buried, correct? So now let's see who finds it. Now the story goes like this. This place was once Malli Nadu, and this land was ruled by the queen Malli. And she had two sons, one Villi and Kandan. So while these two had gone one time to the forest to hunt, the two brothers had gone together to the forest to hunt, and they saw a tiger. Now they both wanted to kill this tiger. So one went in one direction, the other went in the other direction. They didn't know where the tiger went. But they had to get that hunt, the kill. It's a matter of prestige, right? Those days, hunting, when you come with a tiger, it's a big deal. Now, they went to kill the tiger, but what happened was the tiger kills one of the brothers. He kills the Kandan. Now, Willie is going around trying to find his brother, and he at last comes to see the spot where his brother is lying dead. He's shocked and he cries and cries, and then he just ultimately faints and he's unconscious. He's lying there unconscious. His brother is dead and he's unconscious beside him. Now, Lord Narayana, this is the spot where Lord Narayana is buried under the ground. Lord Narayana comes in Billy's dream. He's unconscious, right? Lord Narayana shows up and he says, "Don't worry, I will bring your brother back to life. Once you wake up, you will see your brother alive. Don't worry about that. But I want you to do me something. You both have to build a temple. You will find my idol under this tree." And he tells him exactly where he would find the idol and everything. And he tells him, you will find a big treasure box full of ornaments, full of precious stones and gems. Use that to build your temple. See how the Lord, it's like he's giving him resources also. He's giving all the things that he'll need to build a temple also. How beautiful, right? See, this is what it's like when somebody takes up the whole process of building a temple, the Lord kind of pushes it forward. This is the beautiful example of that. Now just like the Lord says, he wakes up and he sees his brother's fine. It's like his brother just got out of unconscious state, and Kandan is fine and he's alive. And he says, Kanda, I saw this dream. Lord Vishnu came and he asked us to dig here, and there's an idol. We'll dig here and we have to build a temple. We have to cut down all these trees and we have to make this into a city. And we have to build this temple, he says. And Kandan says, yeah, I'll help you. And both of them find, just like the Lord says, there's a treasure box, everything. As the Lord says, they found the idol, everything. And they get on with the work and they build a temple. That's why it's called Srivilliputhur. Villi is after his name, right? The Raja who builds it, one of the brothers, and Puthur. Now, later on, after Her-Andal came to be, the name became Srivilliputhur. Shri is why? Shri is always for Lakshmi. Correct? Shri is that. Shri is also the other word, the other name for Lakshmi. That is why Srivilliputhur. After Andalki, the name changed to Srivilliputhur. Now, this is a small story of how the temple came to be. Now, again, back to our Andal. Now, the Andal Malai, right, is sent from Srivilliputhur to Tirupati one day before the Brahmotsavam. This happens every year. So, before the Brahmotsavam, Andal's Mala is sent to the Lord there for Mahavishnu. Now, the same way, every year, Venkateshwara's garland is sent to Srivilliputhur so that for Andal's marriage. You see how they exchange their malais? Now, coming to Andal's parrot. That's a very special thing, in this temple. She has this parrot in her hand. And that is, how is that parrot made? It goes through a process. It's a special person to make it. And it's not ordinary. This parrot, it takes 4.5 hours to make this parrot. It's not simple. It's made of green leaves and it's made fresh every day. So 4.5 hours, the man who makes it puts 4.5 hours every day to make this parrot. And it's made of pomegranate flower. Now, this pomegranate flower is used for the beak and mouth, and bamboo sticks are used for the legs, and banana plant is used, petals of pink oleander are used, and crepe jasmine is used. All these are used to make this parrot. Now, whoever is making it is from the 7th generation. So you can imagine how many generations of people have been making this parrot for her. It's the same family. It's just, taken after the father, the son. It's like beautiful. The same family is doing it. And they do it with so much love and devotion. Now, Srivilliputhur is mentioned in Brahma Kaivatsa Puranam and Varaha Puranam. And the Varaha Puranam is where they talk about the Lord coming here to this place in the Varaha Avataram and visiting the place and killing the Asuran, right? Now, there is this big Tiruvira, Ter Tiruvira, which is very, very famous, and thousands of people attend it. It is during the Adi Puram, and this is when the day Andal was born. This is when it is celebrated. It's a 10-day celebration. And for that, this Ter Yatra is massive. So many people take part in it. And they come from across the states for this Tiruvira. And this event is the highlight of the 12-day Adi Puram festival. Now, you can imagine. Now, this Ter is very special. It is built by Kerala craftsmen. The car size, listen to this, 75 feet high. It's like a building moving, right? And it weighs 150 tons. And this is the second largest Ter in Tamil Nadu. And what is the first largest? It's the one in Tiruvarur. We talked about it when we were doing one of the Nayanmar sessions. So the largest Ter in Tamil Nadu is in Tiruvarur. And this one is the second largest in Srivilliputhur. Wow. Now the Ter carries the Lord and Andal through 4 streets on that day. It starts at 8 a.m. in the morning and returns before noon. So that's how long it's going around. Now the whole journey, what happens during this whole journey? So many people, right? Think about it. It's not just Ter going. It's like so many people. Like when you see it from the skyline, it's like small insects, so many people around the Ter. You've seen this, right? The sky view. No space. It's all covered by people around the Ter. At that kind of time, right? The whole journey, it's a narration enacted. The whole story of Andal is enacted during this journey. When there's so much crowd, just imagine. The whole story of Andal is enacted during this Ter journey. Wow. Now the main sanctum, it has the image of the Lord in a reclining posture. That's the thing. That's why his name is that, right? And his consort Bhuma Devi and Sri Devi are at his feet. Sage Brigu is near his head and Markandeya is near his feet. And the banyan tree, whose leaf is known as Vatapatram, is at his head behind the sage Brigu. Because this murti was found under the banyan tree, he's called Vadapatra Sayanar. Now, images of Panchamurtis, they're all there around him or around the Ranganatha. And even the brothers, Billi and Kandan, are at his feet. Now, there is a tank in this temple called Kannadi Kenaru. Now, that is mirror, right? Kannadi is mirror. And this is where Andal, whenever she got dressed up, she would come and look at herself and see she's looking good, That is a very special Kinnara here. And she had a pet parrot, and that's why, every day they make a parrot, right? She sent messages through this parrot to Lord Ranganatha. Now, Andal in her Nachiyar Tirumori, it has the 5th verse in this Nachiyar Tirumori that she wrote. The 5th verse, she fondly refers to her parrot as Pal Amudoti Eduttayen Kolakili. Now that means a parrot that is fed on milk. She has specifically written that. So we know that she had a parrot. Now she speaks of 3 birds in this. One is a parrot, one is a swan, and one is a cuckoo. So we know the swan because I don't know if you all remember when we were talking about Garuda, we spoke about Nachiyar temple. Now when we spoke about Nachiyar temple, we know that the goddess traveled on the swan. Rings a bell, right? That is where we spoke about the swan. The Lord traveled on a Garuda, and the goddess Mahalakshmi went on the swan, right? So that is where I can understand why she mentioned the swan here in her Tirumori. Now she holds a parrot in her left hand. And we also know goddess Meenakshi holds a parrot in her right shoulder. And parrots are there in our Puranas, right? A lot of them. Like we've come across parrots in many different stories. Like Meenakshi, for that matter, Meenakshi has a parrot in her right shoulder. Kilikanda Raja, we spoke about him when we did the Sri Rangam session. This is the person who found Lord Ranganatha under the ground. And who told him about it? A kili, right? A parrot told him about it. Now that is why he's called the Kili Kanda Raja. Now that is why there is a special mandapam built for the Kili Mandapam at Srirangam. So this Kili is very, very important in our scriptures. Now, the parrot is the one who sends is a messenger. It's a messenger of the divine, is how they call it, because every time it's there everywhere, right? Where the messages are involved. Meenakshi sends messages to Sundareshwarar. Here, the goddess Andal sends it to Ranganatha. It's cute. Everywhere parrot is involved. Now, as an interesting fact is parrot is also the Vahanam of Kamadeva. That's the god of love. So Kamadeva's Vahanam is parrot. Well, makes sense, right? Beautiful. So that was, I totally enjoyed the session of Sri-Andal. And well, we are almost coming to an end of Margari Masam. And I understand why Ambal asked me to talk about her today specifically. And if you'll ever get a chance, you should, if you are in Chennai, it is possible, go to Nandalala temple and see the Andal there. It is a sight. Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala.